Dear our respected and beloved Agaw Media followers, how are you? Agaw Media continues to provide with reliable, timely information. To ensure that Agaw Media remains a good source of information for you, we ask for your support. If you are new to Agaw Media, please share, like, and subscribe to help spread the information to many. Now let's dive directly into the news. Israel's Envoy defends recognition of Somaliland on legal and historical grounds. Commentary by Worke Debasu. On December 26, 2025, the State of Israel officially recognized the Republic of Somaliland as an independent and sovereign state. The announcement triggered widespread celebrations in Hargeisa, the capital of Somaliland, where thousands gathered in public squares, waving national flags and chanting pro-recognition slogans. Somaliland President Abdirahman Mohamed Abdullahi welcomed the decision, praising Israel's leadership and declaring, "I am the happiest man today," describing the recognition as long overdue justice for Somaliland's people. The recognition, however, also provoked strong opposition from Somalia, regional organizations, and several states, prompting Somalia to formally request an emergency meeting of the United Nations Security Council, UNSC. The meeting was convened on December 29, 2025, with key stakeholders, delivering statements on legality, sovereignty, and regional stability. Emergency UNSC Meeting, December 29, 2025. 1. Somalia, Ambassador Abukar Dahir Osman, Permanent Representative of Somalia to the UN. Ambassador Abukar Dahir Osman condemned Israel's recognition as a blatant violation of Somalia's sovereignty and territorial integrity. He argued that Somaliland remains internationally recognized as part of Somalia and warned that unilateral recognition threatens peace in the Horn of Africa. Somalia urged the Council to reaffirm its commitment to the UN Charter and reject any action that legitimizes what it described as a secessionist project. 2. Israel. Ambassador Gilad Erdan, Permanent Representative of Israel to the United Nations. Israel's statement was delivered by Ambassador Gilad Erdan, who provided the most detailed legal and historical justification presented during the session. Historical record and legal foundations. Ambassador Erdan emphasized that Somaliland was an independent sovereign state before its voluntary union with Somalia. British Somaliland gained independence on June 26, 1960, recognized by more than 30 countries. Italian Somalia gained independence on July 1, 1960. The union between the two was not the result of decolonization boundaries, but a political merger of two already independent states, later shown to lack a ratified and legally binding union agreement. He stressed that Somaliland's withdrawal from this failed union does not constitute secession, but rather the restoration of previously held sovereignty. Somaliland is not breaking away from a colonial state, Ambassador Erdan stated. It is reclaiming a sovereignty it lawfully possessed before a voluntary, unsuccessful union. African Union Charter and Colonial Borders. Addressing claims that Israel violated the African Union's principle of respecting colonial borders, UTI. Possidetis juris. Ambassador Erdan rejected the accusation. Somaliland's borders exactly correspond to the former British colonial boundaries, meaning recognition reinforces, rather than undermines, the AU's core principle. The Somali Republic, he argued, was not a colonial inheritance, but a post-independence political project. Recognizing Somaliland does not redraw colonial borders, Erdan said. It restores them. De facto statehood and governance. The Israeli representative highlighted that Somaliland has maintained peace and internal stability for over 3 decades, conducted multiple democratic elections, established functioning executive, legislative, and judicial institutions, exercised full control over its territory and borders, strategic, diplomatic, and Abraham Accords. Justification. In defending Israel's decision, Ambassador Erdan emphasized that the recognition was not intended as a hostile act towards Somalia but rather aimed at expanding diplomatic engagement and cooperation. The envoy highlighted opportunities for bilateral collaboration in agriculture, technology, and economic development, and rejected allegations of ulterior motives such as relocation of Palestinian populations or military basing. He also linked the recognition to Israel's broader foreign policy under the Abraham Accords, stating that it reflects a shared commitment to regional stability, cooperation, and diplomatic engagement, and noted that Israel invited Somaliland's president to visit Israel to further strengthen these ties. 3. United States. Tammy Bruce, Deputy U.S. Representative to the UN, the United States reaffirmed its respect for Somalia's territorial integrity while acknowledging that state recognition is a sovereign decision. The U.S. criticized selective outrage and noted that recognition debates elsewhere have not triggered similar UNSC interventions. Worke, Egypt. Representative of the Arab Republic of Egypt. Egypt emphasized the sanctity of sovereignty and warned that unilateral recognitions could destabilize fragile regions. Cairo aligned its position with the Arab League and AU, expressing concern over precedents. 5. African Union. AU representative. The AU reiterated its commitment to territorial integrity, but avoided directly addressing Israel's argument that Somaliland aligns with colonial borders, instead restating its general opposition to recognition without consensus. Sakta, Arab League. Arab League representative. The Arab League condemned the recognition as a violation of Somalia's sovereignty and accused Israel of undermining regional stability, linking the decision to broader Middle East tensions. Yedinchi Pakistan. Permanent representative of Pakistan to the UN. Pakistan labeled the recognition provocative and illegal, arguing that it contradicts international norms and risks encouraging fragmentation across Africa. 8. Russian Federation representative. Russia's representative urged that the situation be resolved via internal dialogue, emphasizing that Somaliland's status should be addressed through inclusive national processes within Somalia rather than unilateral external recognition. This approach highlighted Moscow's preference for conflict resolution through negotiation and internal political mechanisms rather than immediate diplomatic interventions. Legal and practical assessment of Israel's recognition. Why the recognition does not contradict international law. Restoration of sovereignty. Somaliland's case represents the reassertion of independence from a failed union between two sovereign states. Compatibility with AU principles. Somaliland's borders follow British colonial lines, meaning recognition respects the AU's foundational doctrine, sovereign right to recognition. States may independently recognize entities that meet criteria for statehood under international law. Practical and strategic justifications. Encourages bilateral cooperation in development, trade, and security. Strengthens ties consistent with the Abraham Accords framework. Recognizes a de facto functioning state with democratic governance and territorial control. Analysts' projections on the outcome. Potential success. Could catalyze further recognitions for Somaliland. May attract investment and diplomatic engagement. Enhances strategic partnerships in the Horn of Africa. Challenges. Strong opposition from AU, Arab League, OIC, and Somalia. Risk of short-term diplomatic isolation. Regional security concerns and political instability in Somalia. Regional and historical context. Despite short-term opposition, many African countries are improving their ties with Israel, though they do not publicly speak out. Historically, Israelites have been among the most oppressed and persecuted peoples in the world, and even today, they continue to struggle for survival. Some Southern African politicians who portray Israel as an oppressor are political elites shaped by the Cold War era, often lacking historical context about the Israeli people. At the same time, Israel must address the Palestinian issue genuinely for the common good of both peoples. Observers suggest that the Israel-Somaliland partnership is likely to continue, with both countries positioned to achieve their diplomatic, economic, and security objectives successfully. Conclusion. Israel's recognition of Somaliland on December 26, 2025, represents a bold diplomatic move grounded in historical precedent, legal reasoning, and strategic considerations linked to the Abraham Accords. While supporters argue it could open pathways for Somaliland's international legitimacy and economic growth, the overwhelming opposition highlights the complexities of sovereignty, territorial integrity, and international norms. The global community now faces a delicate balance between acknowledging de facto realities and upholding long-established principles of statehood. Thank you for watching, and I will always come back with important analysis.